So, you attended college at age 16 and graduated as valedictorian with a double major in mathematics and musical performance. I've read that you were into performance and music most of your early life, but what inspired you to move to Los Angeles and pursue a career in acting?
The thing that inspired me to move to LA to do acting was kind of a blind enthusiasm, in a sense. I always had been doing theater everywhere I went. Actually, the two running themes to my childhood were doing community theater and online gaming, because I was moving around so much. I never had a consistent friendship with anybody because I just left. So either I kept in touch with them on the computer through like Prodigy and like old school internet stuff, like total old school, or I met new people through community theater. So it had always been a family to me, and for some reason I just always had this idea I really would love to go be an actor in LA. So a little bit of not good planning led me to LA shortly after I graduated college.
Wow. Okay. So I heard the genesis of the guild was a WoW intervention where the result was you going cold turkey and quitting the game. Can you tell me a bit about this dark time in your life and where the characters you eventually wrote in the guild pilot based off of anyone you knew personally?
Yeah, so I wrote the guild after I had I was gaming like 30-hour weeks. So I was definitely a hardcore raider at the time. And I really enjoyed it. And part of me, I think, I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing. I'm a little bit obsessive, so I take things too personally and seriously. So I definitely let it take over my life in a way because I didn't have anything else going on to kind of like combat it. So, I definitely don't want my experience to be like a poster child for like dysfunctional gamer. I just think that, anything that I would have filled my time with probably would have taken over my life just because I didn't have a lot of fulfilling things going on at the time, because acting is very much, it's hard to get a job, and it's hard to, face rejection every day. That's just kind of like your job. You have to face it. And if you get a job, it's an acting job, it's extra reward, but it's not the thing that you're there to do. You're there to audition. So it's hard to get your mind around that as an actor because you're always kind of emotionally available. So I wrote the guild because I wanted to write something that would show a character, my optimal side of me. So that's how Codex came up, and I love playing this neurotic, sort of introverted character, which is something you don't normally see on TV as a lead, especially. Yeah. But, building those characters around that kind of character was the key to making it engaging and successful. To this day, it's still hard to write Codex because she's kind of a passive character and plays the role of a healer in life, kind of behind the scenes. So making her a little more outgoing is always a challenge. The other characters were not based per se on people I knew. Like I had drawn some ideas, like people having screaming babies in the background, or like being really too serious about the game. I wouldn't say they were inspired directly by people, but they're sort of an amalgam of my experiences. The characters of Zabu and Vork were based on those actors. I wrote them tailor-made for them with their voice in my ear because we do improv together. Yeah. And so that, I guess, more than anything, it was tailored to the actors in those two situations, and the rest were just impressions of people I played with online.
Oh, cool. Awesome. So how's writing going on Season 4? I've read writing is a difficult part of the process for you. Can you tell us anything about it or about your difficulties with the process?
I'm starting it. I might be starting from scratch again. So I guess, as every season goes on, there's more and more pressure on me as a performer and a creator of the show. Yeah. It's hard to get the time and the sort of, not only the time, but the tunnel vision it takes to really concentrate on creating something. I write this season as a movie, so it's like reading a movie script, and it gets more and more complex because I introduce more characters into the plot. So it's very complex. I have really good people who I will turn to at a certain point to help me out if I get really, really stuck. But part of my process is getting myself stuck and like reevaluating and going back and redoing until I get something that I really feel is good. Also, a consideration is that I have a lot of non-gamer fans now, so I always have to be constantly being not too inside, but still staying inside for the gamers. And it's a fine line to walk. And all those, and then people constantly asking me when it's Season 4 on Twitter and all this stuff. It puts a lot of pressure on me as a person. So it's just kind of learning to ignore everything and kind of satifying myself, because that's what was good for Seasons 1 and 2.
I totally agree.
So it's just being able to get the mental space for that. And I might have to go into a cave for a week if it doesn't come in the next couple of weeks. But it'll get done. And you know, we don't have a release date. We don't actually have a contract yet, so I'm still formulating.
That's cool. Yeah, you kind of got. It's just a really great mix, but it's good that you're. It's got to be a hard process because you control everything. Like it's yours.
It is.
And I can understand how you don't want your baby turning into something else, and you have to keep constantly outdoing yourself because you know it's built into this great thing, and you don't want to kind of lose that.
Yeah, but you can't I don't think you can create like that. You can just do the best that you do as a human, and whether you're outdoing yourself or not, you know, you just have to constantly be checking back in. Is this really what I want to do with this? Is this making me happy? Because it's hard when everybody's pulling you in 50 different directions to sort of creatively like think about a story for the right reasons, except for all the other reasons. So yeah, I mean, I'm really positive. I have some good ideas for it, and I definitely have good ideas for season 5 as well. So you know, there's somewhere I'm aiming to go, and hopefully the journey is at least funny. So we'll see.
Awesome. So as a content creator, you keep a tight rein on the guild as an intellectual property. It's great to see someone like yourself not only be successful, but doing so on your own terms, and not having to dilute your ideas for the mass consumption. First, with the web series and now with the comic, what inspired you to move to comics for the property, and are you a comic book fan yourself?
The move to comics was kind of done because Scott Alley at Dark Horse knew me through Dr. Horrible and through Joss. And I had seen him through 2 Comic Cons in a row. And he, even 2 years ago, was like, we should do Guild as a comic. And I was like, I don't know, I'm just doing season 2 now. I don't have time to do it immediately. So I put it off. And then this past year, last July, he approached me again. He was like, it's time to do it. And I'm like, you know, it's a good idea. I think maybe I could do this if I did it like this. And I said, I can't interfere with my web story idea, so I have to do it more as, let's back up and see how this character got into the game of Codex. Because she's kind of, you know, the heart of the guild. So it's the journey of her getting into gaming, and as Scott said, it's kind of a love letter to video games, because it's this one girl's journey, and it kind of forced me to explore her character in a way I hadn't before. Like, how did she really get into this game? And I didn't want to duplicate my own process. So I had to create a lot of things from scratch, and it gave me a really new perspective on comic book writing in a way that I did not have before. A lot more respect for the parameters of working in a comic form. I mean, it's limitless in a way, but there's so many parameters you have to work under. So it's like a screenplay or a web series, but the opposite. So rather than having lots of dialogue and few locations like we do in the web series, I had to think of it in an opposite way. Like, I can go to any location in the world because I have no money limit as far as like crashes, explosions, fights, or you know, exteriors. Like, for us to shoot in a cafe is a big deal in the Guild web series, but you know, I could go anywhere, but I couldn't have a lot of dialogue, you know, and I'm very dialogue heavy in the Guild. But you know, literally he would be like, hey, you need to cut this down to 12 words instead of 15 in this bubble. I'm like, I can't do it. So that was a big challenge. And also, you know, I mean, I wrote probably twice as much as ending up the comic because you just have no room. So I had to cut out storylines here and there and to backstory and all this stuff, and I had to really narrow it down to what is this one thing that this is about. So that was it was a big challenge. It took like 3 months to write all 3 of those. So well, in addition to all the distractions being in post-production. So I think that what I came up with is really good. I really am happy with it, and it's exactly what I want it to be. And I think the artist, Jim Rugg, has done an amazing job bringing the characters to life in an indie, not like too caricaturist way. I really like his style. He did Street Angel and Aphrodisiac, and he's really more indie. Yeah, you're not going to see like Zabu with like ripped with a six-pack. Yeah, no ripped with a six-pack. And he's also doing the in-game art. So, you know, it's been a journey just seeing panels getting sent back to me, knowing that I have to describe the panels, which I didn't even know when I started. I've read comics. I'm not like a graphic novel aficionado. I'm a lot more now because I did a lot of research. I'm more of a novel reader, so it was definitely a learning curve. And I tried to like read other people's stuff and try to fit myself into their mold. Like, well, these are the rules, and I couldn't write. And I was like,